This is the 13th of July, somewhere in the middle on a Sunday, and I'm trying to assess what we are doing as far as the markets are concerned. We had two back-to-back days of a fall in the markets, and for all to see that we're seeing some weakness. But going forward, what do we see is what we need to go on the chart and look for. And I use my imbalance indicators to tell me what's happening. I also use the volume profile to tell me how we are placed and what levels we are going to see, what is going to be the resistance, what is going to be the support going forward. With that said, I'm going to take you to the chart and try and get you to see what the charts look like, and that should be interesting. So this is the chart of we'll go with the chart of the Nifty 50 first, and we are on the weekly chart on the Nifty 50. This is the futures chart, by the way. So we're looking at the futures prices, not the spot prices. This is the fair value gap indicator, which I use very often to tell me where the resistances and the supports that were created on the chart before, going forward. So we're going to use those to help us analyze the chart. So what are we seeing? We are seeing two back-to-back weeks of some kind of a failure in the prices. Once we reached this level of resistance, in fact, we fell pretty little shy of this resistance. But yeah, you can say that we started to retreat from this area. This is 25,812. We hit this area twice in the 2 weeks before that, and then again we opened lower. We opened just to the top and we fell, and we've had some major fall in the last 2 weeks, and we are down to 25,200 from the 25,600 points down in a matter of 2 weeks. We'll go down to the daily to see if there's some more clue for us. So on the daily too, we see that there is some kind of a resistance, that is a fair value gap that's been built. There's been some huge selling by the bears, and we've seen a good fall. Now, looking at this on the daily, the next support lies somewhere around here, which is the liquidity level, which the market generally wants to get to before it begins to, show some correction. So what we're currently seeing is that we are at 25,223, and the likely destination that we could be heading for is somewhere in the 24,907. So that's another 300 points that we could look down towards the next liquidity level, which we see on the chart on the daily. Now, do we see any fair value gaps on the way up here? We don't. So let's look at the 4-hour and see if there are some things that can give us support. So yeah, what we see is we do have a fair value gap here, which has been created by this huge move, but this fair value gap has been tested, and we've tested it right to the bottom. So that tells me that we are definitely looking weaker, and we may see some kind of a support here, but eventually we'll get to 24,907 in the coming days. In fact, if I actually be a little more pessimistic, this could be the final destination of the journey down. I'm not saying we will be there, but this is a possibility. What I'm going to do is, to make it a little more crystal, I'm going to use my volume profile tool within this area to tell me what are the suggested levels that we should go to. So the moment we go below this level of 25,163, which is one support, if we break this support, we go down, we go to 24,907, or maybe we can use this level now to be more precise as a POC, and this could actually be 24,953. But if I read my volume profile chart right, it could actually bring us down to this level, 24,891. So I would say 24,981 is something which is like what I call is the opportunity zone. The moment we breach 25,163, 24,891 will come very quickly. I call this the area of opportunity. This is what I call this area. And once we do that, we will probably look at going further lower, and we could then head for 24,643. So I don't see, I see that we could see this fall in the coming 2-3 weeks, it is very, very possible that we could see this fall in the coming, we could see this in the next 2-3 weeks. If you lost me there, we could see a fall of this kind of a fall in the next 3 to 4 weeks is what I think we could be heading for. This is as far as the Nifty is concerned. Let's go to the Bank Nifty. We'll start with the weekly here once again. And what you see here is that we did really well, try to take away the previous high, and we took it away. But now what we see is we're falling back into the area from where we went up, and we are perched at this weekly fair value gap, which looks interesting. It's being tested right now. Let's look at the daily, because we are at a support at this point of time as far as the daily is concerned. On the weekly, you see, on the daily, you see that this particular fair value gap has been eaten into quite a lot, and we've taken away more than 80% of this fair value gap. So on the daily, the next support lies at probably somewhere around here, which is the 56,451 level. And what we are currently at is 56,918. So we see another 500 points level below which we find our next support. So Monday could be something that could give us this, journey down. I'm going to use my volume profile tool to tell me more about how the structure is below this level. And what I see is the next supports lie at 56,264. And then we have the bottom of the range somewhere around this area, which is 55,319. So though I'm not forecasting any of this, but in stages, if we start facing weakness, our first level to look at would be 56,484, 480, 490. And then we could find whether we get some support here and go back up. If we don't find support, this is an area where we'll have to wait, assess. And if we breach this area of 56,264, then I expect the markets to, be weak and give us 55,316 in the period. So anything between these two levels is a no trade zone. And this could be the area that could decide whether we go back up, we take this journey back up like this, or that we breach this and then we take support back at this, and then we do some kind of a move down to this area. So this is the scenario on the daily. Let's look at and see if on the 4-hour we see something different. Well, actually no, but you see this fair value gap here. So this could actually, this particular portion could give us some kind of a respite or some kind of a bounce, and hopefully they should give us a bounce and take us higher. But if this area is breached, then you have some fair value gaps here, but these fair value gaps have all been taken away. They've been eaten into, and this is not something significant. It is a tested level, and then we could head lower right down to these areas at 55,316. So these are the two charts that we should look ahead for. And I've given you analysis based on the fair value gaps that tell me where we see support and resistance. And I've also used the volume profile to find out what is the last area where traders spent a lot of time consolidating, and what levels become significant as we move lower into the markets. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you get some idea as to what we're expecting on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Remember, these are the futures charts, right? These are the futures charts. And, these levels really work because the markets move from level to level, and they're not random. They are actually not random because what we see on the chart are imprints by all the traders who participated in the market. And these markers give us the areas where most of the people participated. And when these areas are reached is when, normally people who participated at the earlier instance are the ones who are going to react at that point of time. And these are the areas that act as support and resistance. You know how it goes. So that's it for this video. Please share and like this video and comment if you find it useful, or if you feel that something is missing in the video and you would like to hear more from me. So with this, I'll end this session and look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Bye.